And I'm busting his balls. There's too many untolds from what I just witnessed that I have to know. For instance, how do you wipe your ass? If you can't get your own shirt off and you can't put your pants on, from the front you can't put your pants on, there's no way in hell you're reaching behind to wipe your ass. So he proceeds to tell me that, what is my best fat man story? Wow, there's so many. Oh, man, Wendler and I had some classics. Let me step back and first say that, for me to weigh 300 pounds wasn't easy. It was very hard. I had to force feed like you can't believe. I mean, it was awful. It was terrible. It was something I would never want to do again. It just sucked. So it was uncomfortable. So, I mean, all the things that you read now, not being able to tie your shoes and all, that's all normal. I mean, to this day, I still don't have my shoes tied. You do the side knot thing, you just slip your feet in your shoes. You don't have to worry about tying it. But probably the best story that I have is when the company was on Main Street here in town. I mean, the office was a dump. It was a dump. It was terrible. I mean, the sewage was terrible. Every time it rained, Jim, myself, Chris, Tracy were like, oh no, because we knew that the sewage was just going to start backing up in the warehouse, and it stunk. It was just a dump. And this place wasn't very big. The office area, if they want to call it that, might have been 400 square feet. And there was cubicles that we had in there. And there was one day where I was sitting typing an article, and I can't remember what it was, and I looked down and my keyboard was just sopped. It was just full of sweat. And I just started laughing, and so I'm yelling over the cubicle, at Wendler, that I can't even type because my sweating's so damn bad, the keyboard, it's just slipping all over the place. And so then we sat down and I started writing an article on like 21 reasons why you should be fat, or it was for Teen Nation. It's still out there somewhere. And we sat down, we just started talking about the shit that we do. And for instance, we realized that we couldn't even walk across the 400 square foot office without stopping and leaning on something, or breathing hard. And then he reminds me of a time that I walked outside, which was literally maybe 15 yards, and left my keys in the office, and then called the office to have somebody bring the keys out to me. Just the stupid shit like that is the funniest stuff. Is, the low back pumps, that just never went away. The pictures, the pictures are classic because you take a picture and you're like, oh my God, that's me. Your head looks like a friggin' balloon, and your hands, they look like Shrek. And so I don't know if I have any one like definitive fat guy story, because there's so many that kind of go along with it. But I mean, you can't wipe your ass. I mean, there's so many. Yeah, I got one for you. Here you go. Here's a good one. This is awesome. And I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but this is the best fat man story I've ever had in my life, and it wasn't even me. I get tickets to a professional football, an NFL game, and it happened to be a team that one of the guys I was lifting with at the time was just a huge fan of. So I'm like, okay, we'll go. So I tell him, and he's super excited about this. And this dude's huge. I mean, just giant huge, just super huge, well over 350 huge. And so we go to meet the coach, and we're inside this whole time. We're in like a hotel that's attached to a mall. So we are inside the whole time, and it's cold outside. It's like fall. It's football season. So it's 50 degrees or something. I'm actually cold, and I'm 300 pounds. I'm kind of wishing I had a jacket. And the guy I was with, inside with the air conditioning, is just sweating like hell, just pouring. and we have to go from the hotel across the mall. Now, it was all the way across the mall, so we're talking quite a bit of distance here, like 100 yards. So we had to walk 100 yards. By the time he sits down, and I got, a strength coach with me, a strength and conditioning coach with me. By the time he sits down, he is just, his whole shirt, and it was gray, was full of sweat. There was zero non-sweat pieces on this shirt anywhere. The waitress comes and hands him a stack of napkins that are about 5 inches tall. And he just starts wiping himself down, and it's not working. She comes back with a frickin' towel. So she brings him back a cold towel. The strength coach just has this look on his face that is unbelievable. It was classic to watch. And my friend, who I brought with me, is a huge fan of the team. So he's asking about all the players, and I'm oblivious to all this shit. I don't know any of the players. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm just there kind of for him, because he loved the team, and it was a game. So we go back to the hotel room, and I forgot the other part. I'll tell him in a minute. We go back to the hotel room, and he's just sopped, and he can't get his shirt off because now it's so wet and it's so stuck to his body, he can't get it off. So he needs me to help him. I don't want to grab that messy shit, So I did what any friend would do. I helped him get out of the shirt, and it was so friggin' wet. If I wanted to, I could have taken it and drained water out. So I just threw it in the kitchen sink. And so then we're in there with the coach, and I can't believe everything that I've witnessed up to this point so far. And I've been training with the guy for 3 years. Before we left, he couldn't put his pants on because he was wearing jean shorts. He couldn't fasten the frickin' jean, the buckle or whatever it's, whatever it is, the buckle, of the jeans, because his belly was in the way and he couldn't see it. So I had to help him put his frickin' pants on, which was the first part of my WTF, weekend of this. So we get back, and the coach is there, and I'm prime at this point. I'm busting his balls. There's too many untolds from what I just witnessed that I have to know. For instance, how do you wipe your ass? If you can't get your own shirt off and you can't put your pants on, from the front you can't put your pants on, there's no way in hell you're reaching behind to wipe your ass. So he proceeds to tell me that, his wife just has him assume the position, so he gets against the wall like a cop would have somebody put their hands against a squad car, and then just, uses the baby wipes and cleans them up. And I'm laughing so hard because I know it's true, and the coach is sitting there, he doesn't know what to think. So I keep bombarding him with questions like, how do you have sex? And all these other questions to try to figure out, how do you even survive? I understand how you can squat, bench, and deadlift. I see that all the time, but how do you just get through life on a normal day? Because this is extremely intriguing, and it was also a really good indicator to me that I was not going to ever weigh over 312 pounds, because that was some freaking miserable shit. And then he's got to spend the next half hour, taking his asthma medication and getting his CPAP set up and all this other kind of stuff. And this is the first time I ever saw a CPAP machine. Didn't even know what the hell it was. So he's explaining to me how he needs this machine to sleep, otherwise he'll die in his sleep. So he's so big and fat, he's going to die when he sleeps. We finally make it to the football stadium, and then we find out that we're, now most people would love this, by the way. We find out that we have, what do they call it? We're on the field, so we don't have stadium seats. We are on the sidelines. And the first thing we think to ourselves is, oh, this sucks. We got to stand this whole time. So we're standing there the whole time, and he's just sweating. And, unfortunately, he walks in wearing the visitors T-shirt, and he walks in on the home. We walk in on the home side part of the stadium. So he's getting pelted with, cups and all kinds of shit as he's walking around. And then all the players, obviously want to know who the hell he is. So it was a fun experience when it was all said and done, but that's probably the best fat man story I've ever had, because I've never laughed so hard that I cried for an entire weekend about that one. Oh my God, it was funnier now.
It is hilarious.
Oh, he was so fucking fat.